Ragnick addresses this, the rotation dilemma that we had, right? When I was personally writing these articles for the website, I saw that the game time that has been afforded to Van de Beek, he's been limited to like single digit start. He had been limited to single digit start since the last season, right? He had been playing 15, 20 minutes. He played like less minutes than, I don't know, so many things. There's a lot of stuff that had gone wrong under Ole. A majority of it has been attributed to coaches such as Kieran McKenna and Michael Carrick. We don't know what's true right now.
He will know it because of what we have read. Ragnick is not will probably not bring his entire team, and he will bring only a couple of people along with him. So Carrick and other people are gonna stay at United.
From what situation we know right now, the back-end stuff is not going to change. It might feel in Darren Fraser, Kieran McKenna are all going to be there. Probably, as Devang pointed out, one or two members from his choice might come into the picture. We have already seen, Michael Carrick manage one game and another game going, probably in an hour. So we are recording this just before Chelsea match goes.
The lineup should be out in 10 minutes.
In 10 minutes, right? So, what do you think of play under Michael Carrick? I personally, kind of feel that we just let Villarreal come to us, and in the last 20 minutes, we just not even last 20 minutes, it was just like last 10 minutes when Rashford and Bruno came in, is when the things came alive. Is it similar to what we saw under Ole? Like there was no flair among the players coming in. What do you think of their style?
I saw a better defensive structure.
That is what I mean. Carrick focused on the structure of the team when he came in. Like if you look at his defensive structure and the overall structure of the team under his one game that he has played and the game that he will play today, he is focusing on the defensive structure as of now. He believes that we have good, confident players to score in goals if we could defend. Because if you look at our defensive record in the recent matches under Ole, it was very bad. That is what Carrick is probably focusing on.
I believe that we don't need to watch Carrick right now. I believe that the thing is, Carrick is only there for 2 games. Ragnick's probably gonna sign his contract within a day or two, and then we're gonna be in.
He'll be probably from Arsenal.
What I wanted to point out was the kind of players that United have are actually capable of giving in good defensive performance. Like Villarreal was coming in probably in waves, right? They were coming in wave out of wave, but we were still kind of able to manage him. They were not letting them go past to De Gea. Obviously, David De Gea has been insane this season, but still compared to what we've seen other games, I mean, just look at the game at Liverpool. It's something that I really want to forget, but it's never going to leave my mind right now. 5-1. That one goal also is probably Greece one, right? I don't even consider that.
Crop. 5-0 था भाई. Rape हुआ था. तू झूठी है यार. Stats तो अच्छे से बोल.
5 नहीं देखा मैंने.
Crop this out. वापस बोल भाई. तू बोल रहा है तो मत बोलना. तू देखो नहीं पता तो
मैं बोल देता हूं.
कॉन्फिडेंस से 5 वापस बोल. 5-0.
भाई झूठ ऐसे बोलो कि सामने वाले को लगता है सच बोल रहा है.
वो लोग यूनाइटेड फैंस वो लोग गेम देखते हैं.
भाई सुन, मैंने कोपे माइनस के बारे में सही बात बोली थी. वो लोगों ने मेरी गांड मार दी थी.
हाँ एग्जैक्टली.
अगले 2 मैच में क्या वो 2 असिस्ट देके गया है. ठीक है ना. अगले 2 मैच में 2 असिस्ट.
कम बैक टू द पॉडकास्ट. तू हग रहा है. कॉन्फिडेंस से मत हग. चलेगा हमको. तू मत बोल.
ठीक है चलेगा.
क्रॉप क्या तू लिवरपूल का कुछ तो बोल रहा था.
मेरे को देते मैं
डिफेंसिव रिकॉर्ड. नहीं ऐसे अचानक ट्रांजिशन अच्छा नहीं लगेगा. तो लिवरपूल वाला पॉइंट कंप्लीट कर दे. तो लिवरपूल वाला पॉइंट कम कर दे एंड फिर विद इट कैरी फॉरवर्ड कर दे. अच्छा एक सेकंड. अभी डिस्कस क्या करना है पहले वो बता. मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि फॉर्मेशन अगर डिस्कस करेंगे तो प्लेयर पीछे से डिस्कस करो. अच्छा इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ प्लेयर्स, यंग प्लेयर्स.
फॉर्मेशन नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि फॉर्मेशन हमें पता नहीं है रैगनिक कैसा खिलाएगा, मैं कैसा खिलाता. हम अभी सिर्फ अंदाजा लगा सकते. तो इसलिए
एग्जैक्टली 2-3 फॉर्मेशन का नाम तो ले लेते हैं. देख वो यूजुअली 4-3-3, 4-2-2, 4-3-2-1 एंड 5-3-2. सॉरी 3-5-2.
क्या मेंशन करेगा तू?
बहुत बेटी है ब्रो.
बहुत लेट है अभी. वही
ये मत लियो. इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ
यंग प्लेयर्स आ जाओ. गार्नर और बाकी सब डिस्कस कर. एक बार से डेन एंडरसन और डेविड डायर डिस्कस कर दो. That is a huge point
मैं
because
वो डिफेंसिव
kind of
वाले
play.
पॉइंट पे था, मेरे को याद आ गया, मैं वापस आ जाता हूँ वो पॉइंट पे, फिर आई लेट यू गाइस कंटिन्यू, फिर आगे देखें.
With Dean Henderson और डाया वाला पॉइंट कवर कर लेते हैं कि who should be the number one, because अगर Dean Henderson को नहीं खिलाओगे तो भाई वो जाएगा.
हैंड्स डाउन दे है, ये सीजन में ड्रॉप कर ही नहीं सकते उसे.
ठीक है, चलो वापस कंटिन्यू करो.
So the reason why I wanted to kind of point this out was in the one match that we have seen, Carrick take control of. He kind of played the similar team, just a few changes over there in the playing 11, and we were still kind of able to give a better defensive performance, right? It was kind of a similar team that played against Liverpool, and 5-0. It was absolutely, disgraceful match. I really want to forget it, but it's kind of just into my nightmares right now, right? So we are capable as a team of giving in good defensive performances, and it's something which I personally am looking forward to how Ralph Rangnick positions us as defensively. We already know how his playing style is, but really looking forward to it. But there's another thing that needs to be discussed over here, apart from the rotations and the kind of play. That's the kind of young players that he has, been able to bring into the picture, and not just bring into the picture, but make them world-class players as well. So kind of, if you look at RB Leipzig's team 3 years ago, which came in second, is probably in their first ever season or the second season in the Bundesliga. It was all kind of Ralph Rangnick's thing, right? He was the director of football at that point of time, and pretty much handpicked all of the players who were starting for them. At United, we have a pretty good pool of young players who are playing in our under-23s right now. There's Hannibal Mejbri, there's Elanga. There are a lot of players, to be honest. There's Alvaro.
Alvaro Fernandez, there's Garner, there's Ahmed, you are forgetting Ahmed. You are forgetting Shola.
Yes,
Shola,
exactly.
you're forgetting
There are
Shola.
so many players.
There's so many good players. There's so many good. And the thing is that the beauty is that we don't have good players at the attacking point of view. We have good players at every
across the board.
We have Mendy, we have Garner.
Yeah, we even saw Will Fish make an appearance in
Will Fish, Mengi, Alvaro Fernandez in the defense. We have for CDM, we have Levitt, we have Garner, we have Galbraith. We also have McKinnell and other strikers. The youth is very good.
Ethan Laird at right back.
Ethan Laird at right back. I believe he can step in probably next season itself. That is something I believe. Probably is a huge expectation from him, but he has been playing 2 seasons at loan and he has been doing very good. He is the kind of right wing back that Rangnick would need. Yeah, I believe Laird can.
There are players out at loan as well. There's Axel Tuanzebe. There's Brandon Williams. There are a lot of players out on loan as well, which can come into the picture.
The thing that confounded me regarding the players that we had last year was Axel Tuanzebe shut out Neymar and Mbappe.
But now
first game after 10 months.
Now if you look at Tuanzebe is a huge talent, but he's not getting the minutes that he requires. He is not even getting into the Aston Villa Aston Villa playing level. That is something very concerning.
In the last season that he was not there, they actually brought in good replacements for him, and that's the reason why he's probably not getting.
Ezri Konsa has been playing very well. I do believe that he could
be. He's probably injured as of now. As we talk.
I believe that Tuanzebe could actually step in for Mings. Mings doesn't have Mings is not as good of a centre back as I would say. No offense to Tyrone Mings if you're watching this, but
he actually was featured in England's team recently, right? If I'm not wrong.
I mean, then again, favorism. I mean, then again, Scott McTominay and Fred were playing day in day out for United's team for like such long time. So I don't believe that that favorism doesn't exist. However, coming back to the youth setup, if we look at the fact that James Garner, Damian Levitt are 2 brilliant players that we might have for the pivot. If Rangnick sees the potential in them, integrate them, shows them how to play the role, we could have a PDM for the future, right? We might not even have to splash out the cash outside. And even like players like Boubacar Samare that we missed out in the summer, or Ruben Neves, or even probably a young unknown academy player that we have never heard of, and Rangnick brings him into the team and integrates him. Could be that. So the thing is that right now, I believe the integration of Elanga, Shola Tairae, and everybody else to like take off the load off of the 2 senior passengers, that is Cristiano Ronaldo and Edison Cavani. Ronaldo might have the physique of a 22, 25-year-old. However, he's still 36. If he gets an injury, he probably will out for a longer period of time. Edison Cavani is struggling to.
Do you seriously believe that if he is injured, he'll be out for a longer period of time?
I do not wish to believe that, but my logical mind says this thing. Like seriously, if my belief says one thing,
in the entire career of Ronaldo, I believe he hasn't missed quite a lot of game time because
except
of
that one knee injury that he had, which probably changed his entire playing
probably. His life completely revolves around keeping himself to the fit to the ability, and even if we compare him to all the athletes out there across all the sports, I believe he's at the top notch. So even if he gets
I'm not taking anything away from him.
Him and Messi both, actually. I mean, kudos to them. Like their physics are insane, and probably even Haaland also. He just came out of an injury within 6 weeks.
And within 7 minutes. Oh. Okay, talking about Haaland, since Liverpool is going to take as a consulting role, he can lure him to United. That is something very possible. Obviously, Ole was with him at Molde, and we couldn't really give him the kind of playing style that. So the thing is, I believe that Haaland rejected Manchester United because of the playing time that we were giving him. He was starting for Dortmund, and we were keeping him as an option to maybe Cavani or Martial. So that is something that is the reason what Haaland rejected United for. But if you look at current scenario, he knows that he's gonna start in any team that he joins, right? Any team would start him as a number 9.
I think
so. I think
that the fact that we have Sancho, we have Rangnick right now, and we have a very good set of creators around him. Haaland could definitely be tempted to come here. There were rumors of Thomas Tuchel getting him for Chelsea, and with Chelsea's firepower, those rumors might as well come true.
See, the thing is that every big team are looking for a striker. So if you look at Liverpool, probably might look for a striker. They are not. Firmino is not really in a good form, but Jota has stepped in a good. With Aguero out, City is looking for a striker. United might look at for a striker, as I believe Cavani may or may not be with us. Madrid might not look for striker as of now because they are completely behind Mbappe, and Benzema is still fit enough to play good. Then Barca probably does not have the money, but if Mbappe goes out, PSG can step in and they have the cash to buy Haaland. So bringing in Haaland will be a huge task, but I believe Rangnick can play a very important role if we can lure him to United. He's the person who can lure him to United.
I believe that the other people that will be, I think Amad Diallo for one is one player that we've seen very less of. If he is integrated into the first team with the kind of players that we have right now, Amad Diallo would shine because the one time that he
could be a good backup to Sancho.
Exactly. If you look at the match where he played against AC Milan, he came in at halftime, he scored a goal, right? Next time that he played was, I think, against
Leicester.
He started a game against Wolves and Leicester. Leicester, he provided an assist. Wolves, he was creating definitely.
He has the dribbling ability and the ability to create chances. That is something. He's a Sancho kind of player. He's a very good player.
Yeah, dude, that's it. And then again, the one thing that concerns me a lot is the goalkeeping position, right? Okay, if we look at it, then David De Gea and Dean Henderson
back to his best.
David De Gea is back to his best. But the thing is, again, he's 30-ish and he's on 500 or something. He is almost on 500,000 pounds.
Yeah. By the performances that he has given this season, he totally
he deserves.
The thing is that the kind of the formation that Rangnick used, the pressing style that Rangnick used, he needs a sweeper keeper, which is probably we don't see from much from Dyer, and that is something Dean Henderson can do in his passing range and the ability to come out of the box and get the ball out of the player. That is something Dean Henderson does.
Dean Henderson is a better commander of the box because we saw more clean sheets under him when David went back to Spain.
But then do you take out David at this current form?
I don't. Honestly, what I do at this point of time is if I sell him with a buyback clause. That's what I do.
If I sell Dean Henderson won't. Who are you selling?
Yeah, exactly. Sell him.
See, I would honestly sell him to a foreign club.
Who are you selling? Are you selling David Daya or are you selling Dean Henderson?
Dean Henderson with a buyback clause. It's a no-brainer. You sell him to a club such as Dortmund, or you sell him to a club such as, I don't know, Inter Milan or something like that. Actually deserves it.
Does Dortmund need a keeper? Does Inter Milan need a keeper at this point?
Dortmund probably needs a keeper.
Dortmund probably does need a keeper, or maybe Inter Milan has.
Inter Milan is clearly linked with the Ajax keeper, and he has a verbal agreement with Inter Milan. So that is something.
For example, if Onana leaves,
no big team is around asking around for a goalkeeper at this point of time.
See, the thing is that Dean Henderson needs game time, and he has agents who probably arrange that.
He will leave if he
does not get. I don't know. Even if he leaves for.
Even if he leaves, even with the buyback clause, and let's say United, De Gea can keep up his performance for let's say another 2-3 years because keepers have a long
the thing is that keepers have a long life. They can play till 40. If you look at it from that point of view, De Gea probably have. You can't compare everyone with Buffon, but if you look at Daya's age, he probably might have good 4 to 5 years of game time under his belt. Yeah, but then is Daya the kind of player Rangnick or other managers that come in with the similar philosophy?
The question should be different.
De Gea's reluctance to come out of the box makes him a liability sometimes to the defense because with a high
pressure. Which is why he does not come out. He knows that he can save in one-on-ones with his leg and by spreading it out. But coming out of the box is what makes him liable.
The thing is that even with very good CDMs such as Manchester City, if you look at, they had Rodri and Fernandinho, yet they need a sweeper keeper in Ederson to save a few goals that that might go in otherwise if not for a sweeper keeper. Even if Ederson's a brilliant shot stopper, right?
Now,
similar with Alisson, with Van Dijk and Fabinho, he still needs to come out and do his sweeper keeping duties. That's the only way you play gegenpressing style. So until and unless if you remember last season, the match that at Old Trafford, when Bruno was put, right? एक सेकंड टीम आ गई ब्रो.
अरे हाँ टीम आ गई. डायमंड है 442 डायमंड है.
अरे यार एक कुत्ता अगर ये हारे ना.
डाया बिसाका लिंडेलॉफ बेली टेलेस मैकटोमिनी मैटिच फ्रेड. अरे सीजन नहीं गया भाई. टॉप 4 तो आ ही सकता है. टॉप 4 तो चाहिए ही.
टॉप 4 तो आएगा ही ना, लेकिन बाकी तो कुछ बचा नहीं है अभी इन दैट.
लीग तो गया. ब्रूनो रैशफोर्ड एंड सैंचो ब्रो. और इफ यू लुक एट द फैक्ट, कैरिक भाई सैंचो को खिला रहा ही है.
भाई सैंचो प्लेड रियली वेल आई फील लास्ट मैच में.
सैंचो खेलता है. सैंचो न्यूकासल गेम में उसने गोल नहीं मारा, कुछ नहीं किया, लेकिन वो गेम क्रिएट कर रहा था. ठीक है चलो भाई, कमिंग बैक तो आ जाओ वापस, फटाफट खत्म करते हैं. अभी क्या क्या डिस्कस करना बाकी है? व्हाट वी आर डिस्कसिंग. ए भाई मेन कंसल्टिंग रोल, इसको खत्म करके कंसल्टिंग रोल पे जाते हैं.
भाई सुन देवांग, मेरे को भी निकलना पड़ेगा.
10 मिनट में कंसल्टिंग रोल खत्म कर लेते हैं. मेरे को भी खाना, मेरे को बाहर जाना है खाना खाने.
10 मिनट में बनाना है फिर बनाना है.
चल क्विकली वो जो लास्ट पॉइंट था वो खत्म करके विल गेट टू कंसल्टिंग एंड
कंसल्टिंग रोल में फटाफट रैप अप करना. कंसल्टिंग रोल में वैसे भी कुछ नहीं है. ही माइट बी आवर फर्स्ट जॉब एंड
तो फिर लास्ट क्वेश्चन में तुमको यही बोलूंगा. लास्ट क्वेश्चन ये रहेगा.
लास्ट क्वेश्चन यूथ सेटअप, स्काउटिंग नेटवर्क सब तो डिस्कस हो गया. और
तो सिर्फ आर्नोल्ड वाला पार्ट बोलना है कि he will be focusing on the monetary or the financial side, marketing side, and Ralph will be.
तो लास्ट जो अभी लेकिन एक पॉइंट चल रहा था उसको पहले खत्म करते हैं.
क्या पॉइंट चल रहा था? हाँ, स्वीपर कीपर के बारे में बात कर रहा था तू.
हाँ, कीपर के बारे में
वापस थोड़ा पीछे से जा. बिग टीम्स लाइक मैनचेस्टर सिटी से चालू कर ले.
स्टार्ट फ्रॉम हियर.
So if you look at the big teams such as Manchester City or Liverpool, even with great defenders such as Ruben Dias and Aymeric Laporte and good CDMs with Fernandinho, Rodri doing their jobs, and if you look at Liverpool, Van Dijk, Matip, Konate, and even Fabinho, you still need two sweeper keepers to play the high pressing intensity that Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp employ.
So if you have a high line, you need a sweeper keeper to.
Exactly. Last season, the only reason we won the match at PSG when we went to Parc des Princes was because Axel Tuanzebe made all the recovery runs against Mbappe. It was his pace. Now, if you take out that pace and you put somebody who's reluctant to come out of the box, such as David De Gea, we are a liability. And as good as David De Gea, maybe he cannot save 10 one-on-ones in a row. I mean, except if it's Arsenal. All right. So yeah. Otherwise, you cannot expect him to like keep saving you one after the other. But yeah, please in my humble opinion, I believe that if David De Gea has a reluctance to come out, sacrificing him, saving £500,000 week, but having a good sweeper keeper and a fairly decent shortstop might not be a bad idea. And somebody who will be there for the next 10 years.
I think this question will be really.
Let's keep it open for the chat.
Not just chat, I feel it will be really well answered over the next 2-3 months itself. We'll get a better idea of what the performances will be, and we'll know, we'll get a better idea of how things turn out in the goalkeeper position. Probably we can do a separate podcast on this single topic altogether coming down the line. But getting back to the conversation at hand, right? So if we talk about Ralf Rangnick, he is only going to be manager for 6 months as of now, and he'll be in the director of football position, not probably director of football position, but coming in at consulting role at the top on the football side of things rather than the financial side of things is what we understand right now. How do you guys see that panning out?
See, for me personally, Richard Arnold taking care of financial side of things, I don't care. Right? Ed Woodward was brilliant at doing his job, but the fact that he decided to indulge into the football side of things is what made the fans turn on him. Right? If Woodward was doing his job as a CEO and getting in the good deals, the Lego deals, the Hindware deals, or whatever he was doing, right? The Kohler deals. At the end of the day, if we had a competent director of football and we had the money to splash us on the targets that the managers needed, we might have ended up paying 30 million less for Maguire. We might have getting players such as Cruz instead of Bastian Schweinsteiger at the twilight of his career. You understand that how important that could have been over that changes the entire course of football history.
Real Madrid 17-18 team gets disrupted if it was that.
Exactly.
See, the thing is that is what Arnold is aiming to focus at. Like, he knows that Woodward, he was very close to Woodward while dealing with the commercial side. He knows that Woodward did this mistake and he tried to step into the footballing world, even though he was not very good with it. So Arnold is going to stick with the commercial side. He knows that he can do that. We all know that he can do that. Okay. How much you hate Woodward, you can't deny the fact that he brought in very good deals. He brought in very good deals at very, very crucial moments of Manchester United, right?
Could you ever imagine a tractor company sponsoring a football club? I could never imagine that.
Look at Team Viewer deal. It was a very unexpected and very good deal. So the thing is that Woodward brought in very good deals, but he legit. It was very bad at the footballing side. That is the mistake that Arnold is not looking forward to make. He knows that he can't learn things that quickly to manage a big club like Manchester United. That is where.
However, we have to thank Woodward. We have to thank Woodward because if not for the broken fax machine, we would have lost David De Gea.
That's the highlight of that entire.
Yeah, I think that's Woodward's highlight.
That's his best footballing decision that he has ever made.
Yeah, that's probably one of the better.
Was it a footballing decision? Was it a commercial decision, like saving some money by not replacing the fax machine? I don't know, but whatever it was the best decision for the footballing.
I think it was a decision by someone inside the team who did not really want De Gea to go and going in at night and smashing the machine altogether.
But De Gea with that Real Madrid team, I know Navas is a good player, but De Gea with that
they were next.
Oh man, they would have won even more chance.
At the level he was playing in 2014, 15.
Exactly. He was legit saving our act. He was legit saving.
He was the
only one we survived. If he would have been probably in the what Arsenal was last season, or what Arsenal is.
Yeah, exactly. You would be
Look at
have been
the
Arsenal
difference
right
that the keeper, the Arsenal keeper, has made to Arsenal side.
Ramsdale.
Yes, exactly. That's my point. So
Sweeper
I
keeper.
believe that sweeper keeper, but additionally, Ragnick, as a director of football or in a consultancy role, sees the requirements of the managers and takes those decisions, right? If we can leverage a good deal out of David De Gea and ensure that the team style is not being compromised, why do we need to like keep 500,000
and we can get good sum of money for David De Gea. David De Gea can go for easily above 40 million, is what I believe.
Exactly. See, I am not saying that I want to sell him, but personally, if an offer came in and we have an adept replacement for the incoming manager as well as for the future, why should we why should we not take that?
Personally, I'm a huge David De Gea fan.
No, so that's
I'm a David De Gea fan. Like before anybody in the comments accuses me of being David De Gea, I am Dave says.
All of us are David De Gea fans.
He has been a loyal servant to Manchester United for ages. He has saved Manchester United at various occasions. Look at that Arsenal match. We won it 3-1, but he made 14 to 15 saves.
15 saves.
That is a huge thing, man.
I remember having a conversation with one of my
He had a rough season last time.
Who is this guy? Why is he saving so much? How can he save so much goal?
I think like David De Gea actually that should not have been allowed. It should have been illegal the way what he did that day should have been illegal. But again, we all say our thanks to David De Gea. And coming back to the Ragnick point, I believe that the scouting network that United could set up, the point of integration and the new, especially the selection of the new manager, it's always every comment section of a
probably
Manchester
Pochettino might not be his first choice. We could probably see Erik ten Hag. We could see someone else.
Erik ten Hag as the potential successor, or probably somebody else that we might not have, like the sporting manager right now is 36, but he's been linked to move to Manchester United. Very good manager. Additionally, if he's Portugal and he's from Sporting, I think he's already ahead. But again, we need to keep in mind that Ragnick sees things as a visionary that we as fans or we as people who are not into the footballing world do not. Even people in the footballing world do not see things that he does. Jurgen Klopp is Jurgen Klopp because of Ralf Ragnick's influence.